Hi, everyone, and welcome to AHA Library. I am so excited about our next guest. I have known him for several years. He is here to talk about so many inspirational things that I know you want to be here for, you want to listen to, you want to take notes. His name is Joe Carr. He is the co-founder and president of Serenity Kids, and he's autistic. Hi, Joe. Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here.
Hi, great to be here.
So, I'm just gonna say it, and I know we hadn't talked about this right before, but I get really confused if I say autistic or somebody with autism. So, I know right now, like the correct term or however we say it is you're autistic. That's what you want to
That's
be called,
Yeah,
correct?
the community has embraced that autism is a part of our identity. It's not a condition that we have that could be cured. It's a piece of who we are. So we are autistic people. We're proud to be autistic. It's not an external thing that we have. It is us.
So, or right before this, and I'll let everybody know, I did my first intro and I totally messed it up. And so I just want to let people know, like, I just want to say whatever makes you guys feel comfortable. I'm a mama with a kiddo that is autistic. And, to me, it's just so exciting to be able to kind of understand it more and hear it from your voice because many of our families out there, their kiddos might not have the same voice that you have, that maybe they can't express it in the same way. And so it's nice to be able to say, hey, Joe, hey, tell us, talk to us. And so I love the fact that you are here and you are just doing so many amazing things in the community. So today
Thank
we're going to just talk about a whole bunch of that.
Yeah.
And before we get started, how does autism improve your life? How do you harness your gifts? And how do you mitigate the challenges that kind of go all along with that?
Yeah. So, I was not diagnosed as a child. So I, grew up, I had this very big social energy. I was very big. I took over spaces I was in. I was very loud. I was very intense. And they labeled me ADHD, which wasn't accurate. So it didn't really help. I think my official diagnosis was obnoxious. I was just obnoxious. And this larger than life energy, this intensity, I took on this idea that it was bad or that I was broken or, took on this shame that I had to really undo. And then in middle school, this semi-popular girl turned to me and said, "You know what? I'm going to teach you how to be cool." I was probably annoying her. And instead of being mean to me like most kids were, she was like, "Let me help you out. Let me teach you how to be cool." I was like, "I will do whatever you say." And so I learned the most important lesson of my life, which was that I could take feedback and become better. It worked. I took her advice and I became cool. I became part of this counterculture group and learned how to become better and better and set me on this personal growth track. So I think one of the biggest gifts of autism was that I was forced to learn how to change myself. I was forced to learn how to take feedback, ask people to give me feedback, and then made it really easy for people to give me feedback. So now I continue to solicit that and become better and better all the time. This big energy that I had turned out to be a really great superpower for performing arts. I was became a professional theater. I was a professional actor and singer and dancer as a child. It was the thing that saved me as a kid. Was my mom discovering that this big energy was great on stage, and it was very tough off stage because I never knew when to be off stage. They used to say, but I was able to take over a room and harness that power into performing arts. And then as I've grown, I've been able to turn that into sales and into marketing and into leadership and coaching, and my ability to take up space and to be heard when I speak and to bring people along with me. I've been able to really turn into essentially become a leader and started a business and become outspoken for autistic people as well as lots of other causes. And I can, I think outside the box. I'm not afraid to challenge the norm. I'm not afraid to say when I don't agree with something and to do something differently. Not afraid to be in front of the crowd and to have people criticize me. I'm sort of used to being hated or criticized, so like I'm willing to speak an unpopular opinion, which I think is an important thing any leader has to be willing to do, to risk that. Very sensitive, and the sensitivity that autistic people have, both to light and sound and touch. It's also energetic. Like I'm very sensitive to people's energies, to people's emotions. I can feel people very deeply, and I can also have them feel me. So if I'm in a bad mood, I can make everybody in a bad mood. If I'm in a great mood, I can make everybody feel great. And so as a leader, as a coach, as a boss, as a performer, those are all really useful skills to be able to feel people, know where they're at, have them feel me, and particularly with a lot of employees now, and that I get to support and coach, I can really be fully present with them and feel them very deeply, and I've learned to how to harness that to have really deep relationships.
And so I know that, we've talked in the past regarding like the relationship of diet and autism. Can you talk a little bit about that in your own journey?
Yeah, so there's a lot of challenges, and the sensitivity to sense stimulation, energetic, and emotions. Also, I think at like the molecular level, we're sensitive to toxins. And a lot of people have this talk about the relationship of vaccines and autism. I think that has a lot to do with the toxins that are in vaccines that most people can process out, and maybe they affect them a little bit, but not to the degree that they affect us. But for me and for people like me, when we exposed to toxins, whether it's through something like injections or through medication or also through our food, there's all kinds of toxins in our food system, heavy metals and pesticides and pharmaceutical residues and plasticizers and all kinds of stuff from years of pollution and contamination that gets stuck in our livers. It messes up our guts. So there's a lot of focus on gut health and this kind of gut brain relationship that is very dramatic for autistic people because our brains are already so sensitive and so intense that we start messing. You get those kind of hormones imbalances and different issues with gut health can really have a very big impact on us. So I had a lot of focus on avoiding toxins. So I did a lot of heavy metal testing. I had a 99% lead toxicity that I had to do, chelation and some different treatments to remove. But it worked. I was able to purge out those heavy metals, and then to avoid such kind of cleaning out the decades of contamination. But then also how I eat affects me a lot. Eating inflammatory foods that inflame me. There's foods that inflame me specifically, and there's foods that kind of inflame everybody. On foods like sugar, if it inflames everybody. Grains actually are a fairly inflammatory food for most people, but are especially for autistic people. So kind of avoiding inflammation foods like grains and sugars, processed, highly processed foods, and then focusing on the most nutrient dense whole food ingredients like really good meats, really good fats, really good vegetables, and focusing on organic and locally sourced wherever possible, just kind of cleaner and better sourced, and then just trying to avoid these processed foods, and including industrial seed oils is one that a lot of people aren't really aware of. Those canola oils and vegetable oils are actually highly inflammatory, and focusing on good fats like meat fats and dairy and olive oil and avocado oil, things like that. And then allergy testing. I've done a lot of food allergy testing to find foods. I'm very sensitive to gluten. A lot of autistic people are sensitive to gluten, but grains in general are inflammatory. So just really focusing on what has me feel the most optimized, the most satiated, what's the most nutrition, and then avoiding contamination and inflammation.
And so did you notice, you talked about the role of heavy metals and such, and even like through diet, do you notice when you did the chelation, did you feel any different? How did that feel when you did that?
Yeah, I get migraines, and so it was definitely a reduction in my migraines. Sometimes I had worse migraines while doing the chelation because it's releasing a lot of these toxins into the system. So I noticed symptoms like fatigue and brain fog and migraines and just sort of overall feeling sick while doing it, which also shows it's working. Like there's obviously was something toxic in my body that was being released. But then afterwards, yeah, I feel lighter, I get sick less migraines, and every just incremental improvement is powerful. I'm always trying to optimize and be, the best version of myself. It's very hard living in a non-autistic world. So the more all those little things, the chelation helps, acupuncture is really useful. I do neurofeedback now is one of my favorite tools. Neurofeedback's been a lot of great data on it helping autistic people. Neurofeedback's probably the most dramatic feeling of my impulse control. Like I'm feeling less urgent. I have less reactive more calm, more patient. Acupuncture and Chinese herbs also helped a lot with that. Brought my system from a stressed out stockbroker to like a, like a Zen priest, with some of these herbs and acupuncture techniques.
I just love hearing it directly from you. So it's because obviously so many of us watching or listening, including myself with my own son, we do diet, we've done chelation, we've done, so many different things with natural and alternatives. And, you often wonder like how the person's feeling, especially if you're, child of any age, right? I always say children or kiddo, doesn't matter if you're 2 or 52, you're somebody's kiddo.
Mhm.
Um, if like your kiddo can't express to you sometimes how it feels, it's so nice to be able to hear those that can express and let us know what it feels like. So it's nice that you're able to share that with us. That means a lot, and I know a lot of families listening. I'm sure this is kind of like really cool for them too. I want to get into your business though. So let's talk about Serenity Kids. How does your autism affect running your business? I know you run a neuro inclusive business, so let's talk about that as well.
Yeah. Having such a rough childhood left me very passionate to change the world for kids. Carl Jung said, "In your greatest wound lies your greatest gift." And so I think the wounds I carry from childhood, being so excluded and having so much shame, really left me passionate to make a better world for kids. And was involved with a lot of youth programming, and wanted to start schools. And I'd started a youth nonprofit. Very difficult business models, very difficult to have a very big impact. Also, always wanted to have children. I drew pictures of my future kids when I was 5. Jason and Brittany are their names. So I always wanted to have kids. So when I met my now wife Serenity, and we started getting serious, and talked about having a kid, diet was played such a huge role for both of us. She also had a lot of gut issues and a lot of sickness and a lot of toxicity. And so her first thought was food. What are we going to feed our future baby? And we went looking for healthy baby foods, and we're really disappointed with how bad baby foods were. They were very high in sugar. They were mostly sugars and grains, the foods that I were making me sick, like were the exact opposite of what babies needed. There was not good meat. There was not good fat. There was not a lot of good low sugar vegetable options. So we set forth to create a better kind of baby food and started Serenity Kids baby food. And they're pureed combinations of really well sourced, regenerative, grass fed meats, organic vegetables, really good fats like olive oil, balanced of fat, protein, and carbohydrates. So they're this, complete meal in a little pureed pouch. Very thorough heavy metal testing. So we do a very elaborate contamination testing, and are all verified by the Clean Label Project, which tests for 200 different contaminants to ensure that our products are best in class. And just featuring a huge variety of meats and veggies and fats with all kinds of different flavor profiles that are great for babies, who don't have teeth. They're great as a toddler snack. Our 5-year-old still eats them as a snack, just a little easy, quick way to get a snack in there. But for anybody with food sensory issues, so a lot of autistic kids, a lot of autistic families use our products because meat can be very challenging for some autistic kids. The chewing, the cutting, the textures, and so it's hard to get enough meat, even though it's such an important food for our brains. And so the meat in a pouch can be really useful for some families. And we avoid all the top 8 allergens. So considering how big a deal allergies are, it's an easy way to have some packaged food snacks that avoid all those allergens, that contain that nutrition, are also free of contamination. Plus, we run our business, so I never thought I'd be the leader of a corporation. It's sort of a strange experience to be in. But now what I really, it allows me to kind of create the kind of business that I have, to create the job that I always wanted to have. I've been fired from most of the jobs I ever had. Like, I was not a very good employee. I like to break rules. I like to question authority. I like to do things my way. I'm always trying to make things better. Most of the times I was fired from jobs for trying to make them better, for questioning, for trying to tell my boss how to do his job better. He didn't like that. So I was never a very good employee. So now I get a chance to create an innovation forward company where new ideas and rocking the boat and making things better is encouraged and rewarded, that everyone is encouraged to always question how we do things, how can we make it better. And with culture is everything. We put a lot of energy on an inclusive culture where everybody's contribution is valued and everybody's style is respected, and you can feel safe to be your full self. We say we create a workplace that feeds the soul. And you can bring your full self to work, and so that you don't have to pretend everything's okay when it's not. If you are having feelings about something at home, you can talk about it. We have unlimited PTO, unlimited paid vacation. So, really like as much time as you need to get yourself right so that you can show up and be your full self. Because it's a very demanding job. Like we're very fast growth and very high stakes. And so we want everybody at the top of their game. And we make sure that people have access to that. We offer functional medicine healthcare. So there's a concierge functional medicine doctor to do labs and offer supplements and lots of anti-inflammatory snacks and foods at the office. And we have very flexible work from home and work remote, and so just everything we can to make it so that people are able to be their full selves, to show up and contribute the way that they can, to feel safe and to feel like they can be themselves and really contribute what they have.
Sounds like a fantastic organization and business. And it's just, I admire you and your wife so much for everything you guys are doing and have done already. And it sounds to me that it's really good that you got fired from those other jobs, because that was such a blessing. It's like you're an entrepreneur and that's what you needed to be. And this is where you needed to be in the world. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, you could say good that I was made fun of, good that I was excluded, good that, that all these things, that I was heavy metal toxic. I mean, greatest wound, greatest gift, right? So I think that's like an attitude that is very challenging for a lot of people to understand, that these barriers and these challenges and these things that are so hard are also opportunities. And in every one of them lies the ability to learn something, to grow, to become better, to change the world, to change ourselves. And that's that I think everything happens for a reason. But even whether you believe in that spiritual concept or not, you at least can decide if it happens for a reason. You can make the reason why it happened and make the best of it, or you can complain and be a victim.
I love that. Now, I know you guys are in many stores across the country, and you can also get your products online. Can you give your website so for people that are listening, maybe, or they want to see it on the screen?
Yeah, we have a full assortment of products. We have, these pureed pouches. We have puffs, these crunchy puff snacks, and we have a formula product, like a milk substitute. And those are all on myserenitykids.com. We're also on Amazon. You can buy all our products on Amazon. We're in all the natural food stores. So Whole Foods has a huge selection of our products, but we're in pretty much every store now. We're in Walmart, we're in Target. So pretty much any store you go to in the baby food aisle, you can find some assortment of our products.
And what's the shelf life on your product?
It's a very long shelf life, is shelf stable. So the pouches are up to 2 years for manufacturer date. The puffs are about a year. So a long time. You can stock up on it and throw it in your purse, carry it around with you.
And I gotta say this for those that live in California or places that have earthquakes, because I live in California. We have a lot of your products in our earthquake kit.
Yeah.
And that's why I knew the shelf life already. But I get excited because it's like, I know if there's an emergency, we have our earthquake kit, and I know that we have really wholesome foods. I know that my son can have his meat. And by the way, my son's in his 20s, right? And this is great because if there's an emergency, guess what? I know we have something that's going to taste good and also is going to be really healthy, and it's not going to affect his diet. So for those that are listening, if you have emergency kits, we have one in our car. We also have one in our home. We even have a couple little things in our medical bag that we travel with. So I put that out there because it's not just an everyday thing. You can also think of it as part of your emergency kits.
Yep.
All right. So for those families that are listening, and like, especially mamas and, dads out there and parents and guardians, often as a parent myself, there's days that you're like, gosh, I hope I'm doing this right. And we're just doing our best. Right. And, what kind of message can you give to those that are listening right now, especially those that, are helping guide their kiddos, again, of any age. And we're just, like I said, we're just trying to do our best, but sometimes we just need a little encouragement.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, shame is the enemy, right? Ultimately, like kids are wired to turn out great. They're, on all neurotypes. And the only thing that really gets in the way is shame. And there's a lot of it in society. Kids are shamed, autistic people are shamed, women are shamed. There's all kinds of different ways people are shamed. There's no way to fully avoid it. But I think it's the one thing that a parent, if they make it their priority, they could do, that you can avoid actively encouraging shame at home. And so ultimately, and if you're not adding to the shame, you're doing it right. So ultimately, like if you're not actively shaming your kid, making them feel bad about themselves, telling them, that they're broken, and giving them this message that they're broken, there's something wrong with them, which probably nobody listening to this ever does to their kid. Basically, if you're not doing that, you're doing it right. So, and all you can do is create that safe space where they're loved unconditionally. They know that you're going to love them no matter what. They are able to make mistakes. You don't let them get away with everything, right? Not like they don't have boundaries. It's not that they're bad or wrong for violating a boundary. It just means there's a consequence, and that you love them no matter what, and that you believe in them, and that's really all it takes to be a parent. There's a lot of ways we overcomplicate it and stress out about it a lot and are afraid of it. That's the nature of a good parent, is to worry about being a good parent. So every parent does that. But I think ultimately a shame-free household, they're going to turn out awesome.
I love that. And, just thank you for making this world a better place. That was what you set out to do, and you're doing it. And, just thank you for also letting us kind of just tap into your brain and to kind of hear from your own point of view. And, I know as a parent, like I said, it's very meaningful. And I know the people listening and watching are feeling the same way. So thank you, Joe, for being here. And again, thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you for all you do. You've also turned, obviously, your challenges and pain into power as well, and the work you do with AHA and this amazing education work that is really valuable for families. So appreciate you doing that and making a platform for autistic people like me to help share our story.
Love it. Well, thank you, Joe. And thank you to everyone watching. Until next time. Bye, guys.